It's really beautiful. I haven't done a Q&A in a little
老师，
while.
我有问题。
That's right. Um, and so I don't know. Are you putting questions in the chat or are you just asking me questions? Are you
老师，
raising
我有
hands?
问
I'm
题，
I'm I'm
举
happy
手。
for people to speak up and assert themselves, though of course if you do it in another language, I won't understand right away. Violet, do you have a question? I suddenly see you.
Hello，谢谢老
Violet.
师，
Hello, thank you, teacher.
谢谢老师。
Thank
刚
you.
才前面老师教授了一个关于
Just
音
now,
符，然后我现在有一
Forgive
个
me. Just one moment. I just want to alert everybody who speaks English that they can go to the English channel if they want to hear the question translated. Please, I apologize for the interruption. Please carry on.
谢谢老师。
thank
我
you.
想请问老师，
I would like to
我这
ask,
个问题有3层啊，我慢慢
there
说。
are three levels in my
第一
question. I
是
will speak slowly.
种子是
First
空
is,
性的音吗？如果种子是空性的，那么种
are
子
seeds
是
the
有
cause
变
of
化的，
emptiness?
空
If
性是不变的。
so,
那
seeds
么
are
这个
changing and
成立了，
emptiness
对吗？
doesn't change,
那
then it
第
doesn't
二，
make sense, right?
种子
The
不是
second
空
question
性的
is,
音吗？
if seeds are not the
如果种子
cause
不
of
是空性
emptiness,
的音，那么不来自于我种子的
then
一切都不存在。
everything that
这句话
doesn't
到底是
come
要打
from
个
my
括号
seeds
说，除
doesn't
了
make
空
sense.
性。
Then do we need to
那
ask
么
the
第3
question?
层就是，那种子和空性的关联是什么呢？好，我第二题就是说，
About the second question again,
种子不是空性的音吗？
uh,
如
if
果种
seeds
子
are not
不
the
是
cause
空
of
性的音，
emptiness,
那么不来自于
then
我种子的一切都不
everything that
存在。这句
doesn't
话
come
是不
from
是要
my
打个
seeds
括号说，除
doesn't
了空
exist?
性
And on this statement, do we need to question it?
？OK。
Like if
第
if
3，
seeds are not
那么
the
如
cause
果
of emptiness,
前面2个都不
then
成立的
everything
话，
that
那
doesn't come from
种
my
子和
seeds that
空性
does not
的
exist.
关联
And
是
the
什
third
么？
question is,
如果是虚幻世界和抱歉啊，第3题是，
the third
如
question
果
again,
上面2个
if
都不成立，
the
那么种
above two
子和
statements
空性的关
doesn't
联是
work,
什么？
then what is the relationship between seeds
如
and
果真
emptiness?
的是虚幻世
If
界
it
和终
if
极
it
世
is
界
really
2
that the
不相
deceptive
越，
world and the
那
ultimate
么我
world
们又
do
怎么
not
在
meet,
这个我们生活的虚幻世界
then
里
when
去
we are
直
living
接
in the
空性呢？
deceptive
去找
world,
到这
how
个
can
空
we
性呢？
perceive
谢谢老
emptiness
师
directly? How can we find it?
，Thank you。
Thank you.
Wow, I'm in trouble. That's tough. Good question. What a beautiful and difficult question to start with. Um, I will begin by warning you that I am just a student like you. I'm going to try. I'm not going to run away, but I'm going to warn you that I'm a student on the path like you, and that we can share together in these contemplations. And I will do my best to share my understanding and share these contemplations together, which means you still have to think for yourself. And uh, that means uh, we say, um, I don't know where the saying comes from. Take it with a grain of salt. What does it mean, Kat? Where does that come from? Any idea?
Not a
Uh,
clue. It's a good question.
okay.
Good
It's an
Paula probably
American
knows.
saying.
Good
Ooh,
Paula
Paula,
knows.
do you know? She may not be here. It's okay. It means don't necessarily trust me on this, but I'm gonna do my best. Okay. Uh, and here I took notes. Okay. Are the seeds the cause of emptiness? Um, it, there are different kinds of relationships of dependence. We can talk about dependence as being something different than causation. Uh, Technically, we do say emptiness is not caused. That doesn't mean that it's not dependent. Um, ACI Course 1, Class 9 talks about three different types of interdependence, right? The first type of interdependence is things depend on causes and conditions. Things are interdependent in the sense that everything that you see depends on all of the causes and all of the little factors coming together for that thing to exist. And anything you see, any object, there are countless causes and conditions coming together in a moment for that thing to be just like it is. And everything you see, the changing world of stuff, which is all you can see with your eyes, uh, depends on this process of stuff causing more stuff. And and by the way, all of the causes coming together to make this cup are like the cup, also changing in every moment, pushed along by their causes. It's not silly. It's the first of three levels. It's not the most deep, but it's, I think, quite profound to say that the particular way that we are appearing to one another right now. I think it's nice watching the screen. I see all these little shifts and movements of people on the screen. And and the way they are, the way we all are in this moment on the screen is moving, changing subtly, slightly in every moment because the circumstances which are making us be the way that we are is just like that, shifting, changing in every moment, which are also caused by circumstances changing in every moment, which are also caused by circumstances changing in every moment. And nothing is not like this. This is the first school, okay? When you look at something, like when you look at a river and you think river, what is the river made of? Well, you say the river is made of water. Well, what water? The moment you go to point at the river, the water that you say that it's made of is already gone downstream. I have a river here. The water goes from here to Mexico, to the Gulf of Mexico. And the moment I reach to say, oh, that water, the river in Albuquerque is made of that water, it's gone. It's changing so fast that every time you reach out to point at something, it's not true anymore. Uh, so this is the first level, okay? The middle way school complains about this because they say, as Violet does, you left out unchanging things. We have a problem. You didn't include unchanging things in your model of dependence. Then they say, look, all things are dependent upon parts. And so for anything you can speak of in the universe, you can divide it into parts. And it's a wonderful exercise in course 2, ACI course 2. What class is it? I don't know. I don't remember what class. But there's a systematic uh, tour, journey through all of the different possible types of objects in the universe to show that they have parts. We don't have to do all of them, but quite simply, I must have something here with parts. Oh, good. Everything in the universe has parts. I will pick this object here. Luckily, it has parts. I was hoping for one that was easier to disassemble. Let's see if I have a better chew toy in my drawer. This one, maybe? Sorry to make you wait for me to find the best chew toy. Oh, good. This is perfect. So this object, okay, is a pen. It is a thing because it's a pen and I can write with it. What about now? Now, is it, uh, let's see. Is it a thing or is it three things? If you say it's three things, fine. It's three things. No one's gonna get mad at you. No one's gonna kick you off the Zoom call if you say it's three things. What if you say it's one thing? Could I still say that this is a pen? Can I get some nods or some shakes of the head or something? You have your cameras on. It'll make me feel. What do you think? Can you still say that this is a thing? No. Oh, I'm getting some no's. No nods. So
Well, it's
this.
interesting because it can't function as a pen like that.
No, you don't think so?
Well, not that other part of it. That part you
Oh.
have in your left hand, you can't function as a pen.
Okay. So could it, can you have if a pen is out of ink, is it still a pen that's out of ink?
Yes.
Maybe, right? So could I call this oh, this is more convenient than trying to hold it up. Oh, look, that's better. Uh, is this a pile? Is it still a thing? A pile of pen parts. A pile of pen parts. Uh, sure, it's fine. Also, if you say, so we're going to divide up the room, okay, there's 315 of us. If everyone who says this is one thing would please move over to the left, and everyone who says it's more than one thing, move over to your right. Um, Either way is fine. It's fine. You can call it either way. It doesn't matter. No one's angry. If you want to say that that's a pile of stuff, okay, in a sense it's still a thing. What if I mail the pieces? I'm going to mail one to Shanghai. I'm going to mail one to Kiev, and I'm going to mail one to Rimrock. Could I still say that it's a pen that has been dispersed? It is a pen that has been spread apart. What about now? Now I'm going to put it back together again. Can I say now that this is three things? Sure, it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing. No, I can't say it's three things. This part is still here. This part is still here. This part is still here. It's still a cartridge and what do you say? An ink cartridge. Good luck, translators. You'll know what to do. An ink cartridge and a top and a bottom. There's a top and a bottom and a filler. And these parts are still here. Uh, Even though they're screwed together, the three things are still here. Everything in the universe is this way. Oh, so which is it really? Really. And now I'm not saying which is it. Now, before I said which is it, now I'm saying which is it really? Meaning, who has to leave the room? Who gets kicked out of the Zoom call? The many-ers or the oneers? You can all stay. You can all stay. Nobody leave the Zoom call. Nobody is more right than the others. And this is true of anything in the universe that has parts. It doesn't really exist. It, which means one, right? In English, it means one thing. It doesn't really exist because it can't be an it unless you think of it as it. Since you could have thought of it as they, them, those. Now you can go to course 2 and divide everything in the universe to see, does that apply to um, physical things, mental things, changing things, and Violet, unchanging things. Does the is the emptiness of the pen made up of the emptiness of the top of the pen and the emptiness of the bottom of the pen and the emptiness of the filler, the cartridge? You see, you're still assembling your understanding of emptiness. The idea that there is an emptiness of a pen depend. It's not caused per se. Okay, we don't say caused in that school. They say depends on you thinking of it in a certain way. So it's not made in the sense that it's pushed into reality by causes in the same way. It suddenly is always true that the pen had no nature of its own as long as it has been a pen because you think of it as a pen. The Heart Sutra says, Suk Tompa o Tongpa ni Sukso, Suk le Tompa ni Shen Mayin, Shen Mayin le Suk Shen, oh, Tongpa ni le Suk Shen Mayin no, which means, uh, your pen is empty. Emptiness is your pen. Your pen is nothing but emptiness, and emptiness is nothing but your pen, roughly. Uh, there's no emptiness of the pen without the pen. You see? You can't have emptiness of the pen without the pen. So the emptiness of the pen depends on the pen. And the pen is brought about by your seeds. You see? So your seeds are causing you to see the world in a certain way. The world depends on you seeing things in a certain way. And in dependence upon seeing this as a pen, it is true that the pen that isn't coming from you doesn't exist. But we can't even talk about the pen that isn't coming from you unless we talk about pen. What does a pen that's not coming, what is a pen that's not coming from you if you don't know what pen is? So first your mind has to do that trick. Now, the third form of dependence, interdependence. The higher middle way school says you lower middle way folks are not wrong. You're not wrong. It's pretty good. You've successfully identified the dependence of everything in the universe, and you even covered Violet's problem about unchanging things. But to be more subtle, we should say that the world depends upon your seeds forcing you to project ideas onto parts which are also ideas. You see? So I have this idea of pen, and I'm throwing that idea onto these parts, the top, the bottom, and the cartridge, the middle. So what about this part? Same thing. Same thing. Okay. I'm calling this top of the pen. And that is put on the parts of the top of the pen. There's this little what do you call that? The pressy thingy? Right? I'm putting the name top of the pen on the pieces of the top of the pen. And of course the little top of the pen, the clicker. I don't know if we have a name for this. We'll call it the clicker. Uh, is also made up of parts, and I am putting the name clicker, the name that I just made up. So Of course, it can't be a clicker from its own side since I just made the word up. Then the clicker also has parts, and I'm putting a name on there. And there's nothing at the bottom of all of the labels because there's always more labels. Anything you name, you are naming onto something. But that something is also a name placed onto something, which is also a name placed onto something. So your question, all right? Let me check my notes, see how I'm doing. Are seeds the cause of emptiness? They typically don't say that. They typically don't say that. They say that emptiness is dependent on seeds when you're being very careful. Okay. Your idea of emptiness, your personal understanding of emptiness is dependent upon your seeds. Did you cause the lack of an elephant on my head? No, no one had to come into the room and get all the elephants off my head. There just wasn't one there. But unless you have the idea of elephant, you can't have the idea of a lack of elephant on my head. So the lack of an elephant in my head, on my head, is dependent on your idea of elephant. It's even dependent on, yeah, is it dependent on elephants? I'm not sure. So everything comes from seeds. Everything comes from seeds in the sense that everything is dependent upon seeds, in the sense that the way that we piece the world together, the way that we label, the labels, the ideas in our mind that get put onto other ideas, you see, which were put there on top of other ideas from our seeds. The ideas come from seeds. The ideas come from seeds. And the fact that ideas don't come from anywhere else is the emptiness of everything in your world. So I don't have to really solve the last two questions, which are, where does everything come from if not emptiness? Or I guess, where does everything come from if not seeds? They do. Even emptiness is dependent upon your seeds. Even emptiness is dependent on your seeds, and it's unchanging. Is that helpful contemplation, at least for now, Violet? You're allowed to cross-examine me if you want, at least one time, before we go on to another question, or you may hold your peace. If the translator kindly chose to not translate that opportunity for her, thank you. No, you wouldn't do that. I've seen what a good translator Katie is firsthand. Is there another question that I can try to field?
May I get clarification, please, to your last statement? It's, I think you said even
try.
emptiness is dependent on your seeds and it's
Yeah.
changing.
Oh, I did not say, and it's
Okay,
changing.
good. Okay, thank you. Please clarify what you said.
Or if I did, then it was an error. I'm not saying that emptiness
Okay,
is
good.
changing.
I didn't think so. So thank you for clarifying. What did you say? Even emptiness is dependent on your seeds and it's
You guess. You tell me what I'm gonna say.
unchanging.
Great news.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And sometimes this distinction is drawn between caused by or dependent upon. And I will warn you, okay, in casual speech among ourselves, we almost use the two interchangeably. Okay. In common casual speech, it is common to treat dependence as to say, yeah, it's coming from your seeds. We say coming from your seeds. Okay. Or everything is caused by your seeds. And in a casual way, that's right. But in a technical way, you will see a discussion sometimes about the difference between causation and dependence. Causation being a type of dependence that is focused on by the lower schools of thought. An important and a very profound one, by the way. Um, okay. Oh, there are questions in the chat. Okay. I'm supposed to look at the questions in the chat, I guess, instead of um people who can speak. That's okay. Uh oh, oh. Uh that's helpful. Gilse did not have a question, but had an answer about grains of salt, which you can find in the chat. Here we go. Um, Brian, I believe. In the Abhidharma Kosha, we take as a proof of Bardo beings that you need to move from place of death to the place of birth. But aren't places just a projection too? Or is it just the lower school understanding? Oh, thank you. I can answer that question. Number two, it is generally considered a lower school understanding. Um, I think Geshe Michael used to say there's no dog body factory in Kansas uh, where they leave a zipper so that they can put consciousness into the fresh dog bodies. Your seeds shift, and you look and you see a paw instead of a hand. So, yeah, it's not accepted, Brian, by latter schools. They do not agree that that is a good proof. So, do they accept? I shouldn't ask this question. I'm just making trouble for myself. So, do they accept a Bardo, and why? I don't know. Yes, I believe they do accept it in the other schools. Is there some other way of proving it? Don't know. Keep coming to Mixed Nuts. Maybe it'll be covered in somebody's book, or let me know if you get an answer. But that wasn't your question, so I shouldn't have to reveal my ignorance to what you didn't even ask. Let's see. Marina, I was also happy to see you at DN, and it was wonderful to be there with my family. And thank you again for your consistent help for us, Marina. You have a question. I should read these questions before I decide I'm going to answer them, but I don't. Let's see. How did I understand that I met my spiritual partner? As far as I know, this can be accompanied by many magical signs. Oh, that's beautiful. How was it for you? And are there any specific special signs that this is your spiritual partner? And if we must go to enlightenment with a spiritual partner, then how does this happen with nuns? They cannot have a spiritual partner. Oh, these are cool questions. Um, let's see, one at a time. Um, how did I understand that I met my spiritual partner? Uh, that's easy. Sort of. No, it's never easy. Um, you know, on I'll two levels of answers, uh, at least. You make it so. You try to make it so. You plant the causes. When I was very fortunate when I met my wife, my partner, we were studying together. Um, we were studying our vows, our secret vows. Don't talk about that. But we were studying our vows together, and um, and we used one another as a place to keep our vows. And there's no such thing as your perfect partner, really. Uh, they're a, they're a pen or a chew toy. Um, you plant seeds, and if you have the seeds to see, it can be very dangerous to get signs, actually. If you have the seeds to see someone as your perfect partner, and you still have the seeds to see things as if they were coming at you instead of from you, there's trouble ahead, you see, because you're going to think that they're really your perfect partner. And it's not true. And they're going to do something wrong that proves that they're not really your perfect partner because there's no such thing. Because there's no such thing as a real perfect partner. So they're going to do something that proves that they couldn't be your real perfect partner. Now, the good news is if you think someone is perfectly a jerk, you will find them doing something nice if you look close enough, and they will ruin that too. Uh, it's coming from you. It's coming from you. So you can plant those seeds, and we did. And I was very fortunate that I met someone at a time in my life um, where we were both learning these practices together. And we just said, "You're empty. I'm empty. You're empty. And I'm going to treat you the way that I would treat you if you were already everything I hoped for you to be. And that will change the way I see you over time. And I will think about all the beautiful things about you. And I will notice one beautiful thing and another beautiful thing. I will notice your eyes and I will notice your hair. I will notice your laugh. I, I will notice your kindness to me." And you could make the other list. You see, you could make the other list. You could make a list of their negative qualities. Uh, and it destroys them. It does damage. Um, everyone has countless wonderful qualities, and everyone has countless negative qualities. Which one are they really? You know now what a stupid question that is. How can you measure infinity against infinity? You could go on forever, but the more you pay attention to what is beautiful, not just about your partner, about anything, your life, your wife, your house, your kid, your your job, your body, you, you see, uh, as you review the beautiful qualities, it becomes more real for you. You get this habit of noticing beautiful qualities. Uh, there's a West Chinese saying. Um, they say, "Don't smell a fart." I hope that's translated faithfully. Don't smell a fart. Uh, it's when you walk into the room and you go, "Who farted?" You see? Well, stop sniffing it. What do you do? Like, stop sitting there dwelling in it. You're making it worse for yourself. You're dominating your life with stinky smell. There's a nicer American saying, which is stop and smell the roses. You see? Um, there's a beautiful line in the Yoga Sutra. Santoshanumata Sukha Lava. Santoshanumata Sukha Lava. Santosha means contentment or noticing what is already going pretty good. You see, uh, by noticing what's already going well, the result is Santoshanumata Anumata Sukha. Uh, Anumato means without measure. Sukha means bliss, happiness. We get the word sugar from sukha, especially in Spanish, azúcar, sukha, without measure. You notice something beautiful, and then that makes you practiced. You see, yoga, practiced at noticing what is beautiful, which makes it easier for you to notice the next time what's beautiful, which makes it easier for you to practice, which makes it easier for you to notice. And you start accidentally just noticing the beauty in people because you practice turning your mind towards what's beautiful again and again. Okay, just making a list. This is so beautiful. Your eyes are so beautiful. Your understanding is so beautiful. Your kindness is so beautiful. The way you talk to people who you don't even know on the street with love is so beautiful. And as you go through this practice, these qualities are all over your mind. And then you start looking around the world, and to you, it looks beautiful, which is what it means to live in paradise. And so, as with people, so with places, so with everything in your life, um, she, so I said I would answer in two levels. Uh, um, Also, she was just really nice. Uh, so that helps. But there's there's a layer to that also, um, which is um, don't maybe bite off more than you can chew. You have to be honest with yourself. Nobody's perfect. Does this mean that you can grab a random person off the street and make them your spiritual partner? Probably I can't. You sort of have to be honest about the limitations of your personal practice. It was helpful to me that I already thought that she was pretty awesome. And that was a nice starting place. I needed that. I'm not a great practitioner. And you have to be honest about it with yourself. There's a secret vow. Don't tell anyone. Uh, you break it if you think that you are some sort of spiritual superstar. Uh, you probably ain't. I mean, you might be, but the vow says you're not. Okay. I know secretly you might be, and that the vow is probably just for me. But um knowing that, be reasonable about what you can take on. It doesn't mean that you should stay in every relationship, no matter how abusive it is. Please don't. Please don't hurt yourself or let yourself be hurt. It doesn't mean that you just grab some random person off the street that you have no feelings about or don't even like and try to practice there. Most of us, I suspect, are probably not strong enough to do that. I understand it might be possible in theory. Maybe a great practitioner could do that. I see what you mean. I see how this theory suggests that, but I'm not tough enough. I'm not tough enough to do that. I probably wouldn't make it. So be honest with yourself. And if they're already pretty great, that'll do. That'll do. Um, and she was already pretty great, which was really helpful in my humble practice. If you can find someone who's already like pretty great, Uh, that's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need anything better than someone who's already pretty awesome. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah, I don't know how appropriate this other question is for me to answer exactly about ordained people and partners, but I will say that there are energies on the inside and energies on the outside. And the idea of taking vows like that is not somehow to put off bliss, but it's an understanding of where bliss comes from. When someone takes ordination, they are acknowledging that they understand that bliss is something that comes from inside. And uh, and angels certainly come and show up. And what is a spiritual partner? You see, from the perspective of an ordained person, if someone keeps their vows very well, um, they are going to be helpless, but to experience uh, great blisses indeed, and friends and angels surrounding them, because you're practicing thinking of them that way, because you're being considerate of other people, because the heart of especially the Vinaya or the monks and nuns vows is that everyone is so precious. You see, that you don't hurt anybody, that you're desperately running around being so careful with everybody, not to hurt anybody. And uh, and this makes everyone so precious to you. And and when you see everyone is precious, they look more and more beautiful to you. And then uh, yeah, I don't know. That's maybe as much as is appropriate for me to say about um, ordination. And but I'll tell you, with monks and nuns, they're they're hooked up. I believe they're hooked up. I do believe that, um, and so I don't think we have to worry about them. I think that we can keep taking care of them and being taken care of by them and taking care of each other. Uh, and the Buddha was also a monk, and the ways that the Buddha reached enlightenment were consistent. That story is consistent with full ordination. I'll leave it at that and see if there's another question in the chat. Uh, I don't see one yet. If someone wants to raise their hand or ask another question, it's very welcome. In the meantime, Kading, would you be willing to share anything on your sense of the relationship between ordination and the idea of the culmination of enlightenment as it's told through the lens of happening with a spiritual partner? Oh, you are muted still.
There we go. I think that's, discussed throughout the entire 18 advanced Diamond Way courses.
Right. Right.
So you got to go through the whole program to get the answer to that question. They do say that with ordination, with the additional vows, yeah, that was an amazing, beautiful answer to her questions, by the way, dear Ben. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
With more vows, it is said, and not necessarily, true or real, but with vows, it's said that it's harder to achieve enlightenment through that path, and there are other paths to enlightenment. It's harder, but more powerful because of all the extra vows that have to be kept in mind, and all the balancing of the 5 different groups of vows that we have as ordained people. so that the practice is much more mindful and based in concentration. Because it's, it's straight to hell. Otherwise, you lose your vows. You risk losing your vow if not practiced according to the lineage that we've been given from Lord Buddha. So 18 courses. Check it out. See if you want to take on that commitment to practicing that much harder, to juggle another couple hundred vows on top of your other ones. And I don't know. I'm going, I took the vows.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Okay. Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate that. Sorry. There. I saw a timid hand raised. I can't make an attempt at reading your name, but you're wearing white in an all white background. There. This is the sign. You want to ask a question, right? Okay, I'm gonna go. Here we go. I'm going into the English channel to listen to your question.
感恩老师，
Thank you, teacher.
正者能够知道
Enlightened
我们的
being
意识在
can
想什
see
么。
what
这是
we
第一个问
can
题。
enlightened
我听
being
格西
know
老
what
师
our
也
mind
有
is
教到，
thinking. This is the first
说
question.
在
I heard from
有
Geshe
500
that
名这个
there
圣人
are
想要去杀害佛陀，
500 warriors.
之
They
后佛陀读
wanted
了他
to
们的
kill
心，
the
就教
Buddha,
了他们各
and
阵地。
then the
这
Buddha
500
sought
名
their mind
士
and
兵
helped
之
them
后就
get
变成了
enlightened.
正者。
And
10分钟之后，
afterwards,
10分钟之
after
前
10 minutes,
还要
those
去杀
500
害佛
warriors
陀， 10分
became
钟之后
enlightened being.
就
But afterwards,
成为了正者。
they still
那
wanted,
为何
like
我们要
five
我
minutes
们
before
学
they
习
wanted
这么
to
久，
kill the Buddha, but
怎么
minutes later they
还
they
是
became enlightened
没
being.
有
Then for
实
us,
践空间？
why
感恩
are
老师。
we learning for so long, but we still cannot see emptiness directly? Thank you.
Cool. I'm not sure if I'm totally familiar with that story, but we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna assume it's true and then make my best attempt uh, towards a presentation in which this is consistent with our own path and other people's paths. I wonder sometimes, there's this idea, speaking of diamond way practices, that using the diamond way practices, you can shorten the amount of time that it takes to reach enlightenment. They say this. I personally wonder sometimes, did you shorten the amount of time that it takes, or does it take you, what did they say, 10 to the 60th power eons to reach the tantric teachings? I don't know. I don't know what was going on for those beings in that prior moment. To say that you could go from wanting to kill the Buddha to being enlightened yourself in one lifetime, that sounds challenging. But seeds are also empty, as people have been saying. Time is empty. And so the amount of time that it takes, I don't know. I don't know. This is it is a very difficult question. Um, does it have to take you that long to get enlightened? I hope not. I hope not. And there's an interesting discussion, and I don't remember where it comes. I wish I could tell you. I wish I was better at quoting. sources. Jetson Kappa talks about uh, changing your reality. And unfortunately, I fear this may also relate to Diamond Way teachings. So don't tell anybody, okay? But I'll be careful. It's nothing weird, okay? Nothing inappropriate. I don't think I'm sharing anything inappropriate. And inappropriate almost just means like ruining cool surprises for you. Um, we have a saying in my house. I think it relates to Diamond Way, raising a kid. Uh, in our house, we don't have secrets, only happy surprises. You see, you'll find out and you'll be happy. There are no secrets. It's just like the Buddhas are planning you a birthday party and they can't tell you about it yet, or you won't be as happy when it comes. Um, so, uh, if you have to change all of your seeds one by one, it takes too long. Uh, how many seeds do you have? Jetson Kappa says something like this. How many seeds do you have? Uh, how many things is this? You see? Uh, are these three things the same as this thing? Is it possible the entire universe is coming from a single seed? Is it possible to see the entire universe, the entire collection of all of your seeds, the collection as a thing coming from a seed? Maybe there's a way you only have to fix one seed. Maybe. But that's a hard question. I can't give you a more satisfying one. I can be your friend and sibling, right, on the path, and we can keep asking these questions and wonder together. I cannot give you ultimate satisfaction on these answers as long as I myself am still suffering. I'm mostly okay. Uh, let's see. Oh, questions. Oh, I have 4 minutes. I'm gonna go on the top and try to make sure I didn't skip any questions. Okay. Question 3 from Suni, maybe. In karmic management, Master Chandrakirti says the success rate of all things is 100%, although the probability of achieving the goal by using the seed principles is increased. In reality, the same application of seed principles may not necessarily achieve 100%. Boy, I don't know if I understand this question. I'm so sorry. Uh, um, I don't know. Suni, are you available to talk and be translated for a moment or to give me more clarification? I apologize. I'm not sure if I understand totally. Oh, here we go. Is this different? Success rate of all things is 100%. I already don't know what that means. I I may not be able to comment on that. I'm sorry. Uh, it's probably better that I don't make up something and give you a bad answer. We have only another moment. We have time for one last question. I'm sorry, Suni. Talking about the success of seeds. Right. Success of seeds is 100%. Here's how I look at that, okay? And then we can carry on. You can move on with our lives, your lives, our lives. Um, there's a there's if I try to, let's see, you're gonna throw me a birthday party, and um, you bake me a cake, and you bake me a German chocolate cake. Uh, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not my favorite. I don't prefer it. It's fine. It's chocolate. That's good. Uh, but it has this like coconut goo on it that some people love. I don't prefer it. Okay. Now your intention was good, and 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 I thank you for trying, but I can't help it. I kind of wish that I wasn't stuck with German chocolate cake for my birthday. So did it work? If your goal is to make me happy by baking me German chocolate cake for my birthday, did it work? It depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to see me happy in the very next moment, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It didn't necessarily work. If your goal is to plant the seeds to see me, if your goal is to become the kind of person who works to serve others, if your goal is to become the sort of person that you want to see in the mirror every morning, who works for others, tries to take care of others, you have developed in that skill. I ask you this also. They say there's a time gap. All right, here's superpower karmic method. All right, I'm going to give you a secret superpower karmic method, highly experimental. Don't tell anyone I told you. Uh, how to remove the time gap between cause and effect. Instantly remove the time gap between cause and effect. If you want to see me be happy and you bake me a cake, am I going to be happier on my birthday? Not necessarily. It may take more time than that before you see everyone filled with bliss because you baked them cakes. If you want to plant a seed in your heart for giving, the seed is planted the moment you bake the cake. If your goal is a short-term outcome in the world, I don't know how long you're going to have to wait. I don't know. If your goal is the seed, if the goal is a change in yourself, there's no time gap. There's no time between doing the deed and planting the seed for some result that you will see later. 100% successful. 100%. You can fail to make me happy at the birthday party. You cannot fail to become a person who is developing in their capacity for love and generosity and giving when you practice love and generosity and giving. Okay? Okay. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Thank you for supporting this project with your deep minds and happy faces. And it's so fun that you all come and hang out with us and we get to do this together. You all are so cool. And I'm so happy to get to hang out with you 3 times a week. I am, as we say in America, a lucky ducky. Um, and there should be no good way of translating that. But if anyone can handle it, it's you, Katie. Thank you, friends. See you soon. Saturday will be our next meeting together. Have a good night. Have a good morning. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon. I'll miss you.